Welcome to the Integrated Pest Management for Insect Pest of Cucurbits, Identification, Scouting, and Management. This course focuses on the key insect pests that affect cucumbers, melons, pumpkins, and squash, and how to manage them using integrated pest management practices. In this course, we will cover what is integrated pest management, learn the basics of scouting for insect pests, and then cover 6 major insect and mite pests of cucurbits, including aphids, cucumber beetles, seedcorn maggot, spider mites, squash bugs, and squash vine borer, and then wrap up with a brief summary of the basic aspects of IPM. Integrated Pest Management, or IPM, is a strategy for managing pests in an effective and economical way while minimizing risks to human health and the environment. It combines prevention, regular monitoring, and the careful use of control methods. The IPM pyramid illustrates this approach, with prevention and cultural practices forming the foundation, including practices like crop rotation and good sanitation that help prevent pest problems before they start. Fields are regularly monitored through scouting and proper pest identification, and control decisions are made only when pest populations reach established action thresholds. When intervention is needed, lower risk methods are used first, including physical, mechanical, and biological controls, with an emphasis on conserving beneficial insects and pollinators whenever possible. More intensive controls, those that may have greater cost, broader impacts on non-target organisms, or higher toxicity, are used only when necessary. Chemical controls, including biorational and conventional pesticides, are used only after other methods are insufficient and are selected and applied to minimize risks while effectively managing the pest. This approach ensures that pest management is effective, economical, and environmentally responsible. Scouting is a key part of effective pest management and should be done weekly from crop emergence through harvest. When scouting a field, sample at least 5 different locations to get an accurate picture of pest activity. Be sure to check all parts of the plants, including both sides of the leaves, as well as any fruit, since pests can easily be missed if inspections are too quick. Finally, record pest numbers and note the crop's growth stage. This information helps guide timely and appropriate management decisions. The picture on the right of the screen shows a man checking a yellow sticky card trap to monitor cucumber beetle populations. Now that we've covered the basics of scouting, let's take a closer look at our first key pest, the melon aphid. Melon aphids are a common pest in cucurbit fields, especially from June through September. They do best in hot, dry weather and can build up quickly under those conditions. You usually find them on the undersides of leaves, as you can see on the image on the screen now, which is a cucurbit leaf with its underside completely covered with aphids. This is why careful scouting is so important. Melon aphids are small, about 1/16 of an inch, and can range in color from light green to dark green or black. A key feature to look for is the pair of black cornicles, or tailpipes, on the back of the body. You can see this on the aphid on the bottom image, which has 2 black cornicles on the back of its abdomen. They feed with piercing, sucking mouth parts and are usually found clustered together in colonies. Melon aphids overwinter as eggs on a variety of plants. In spring, wingless females hatch and begin feeding, producing multiple generations without mating. Under hot, dry conditions, populations can explode.
Females can start producing offspring in as little as 5 days and may produce dozens over their lifetime. Winged aphids occasionally form and spread to new plants. An example of a winged aphid is shown on the top image.
Aphid feeding causes leaves to twist, pucker, and cup, and heavy infestations can lead to severe leaf distortion. You can see this in the top image, where an aphid infestation has caused severe damage to this cucurbit leaf. They also produce honeydew, which coats leaves and fruit and can result in sooty mold. Sooty mold can be seen in the bottom image of black sooty mold on an apple. Most importantly, melon aphids can transmit several damaging viruses, including cucumber mosaic virus, watermelon mosaic virus, papaya ring spot virus, and zucchini yellow mosaic virus. Because of this damage, managing aphids early is critical. Effective aphid management starts with prevention, such as planting virus-resistant varieties and placing new fields away from existing cucurbits. Reflective mulch can help repel aphids, and conserving natural enemies like lady beetles, lacewings, and parasitoids provides valuable biological control. The top left image is an example of a lady beetle, while the bottom image is an example of an aphid that was preyed upon by a parasitic wasp. Scouting remains key. Check the undersides of leaves and runners, especially along field edges from mid to late season. Treatment is recommended when more than 20% of runners have aphids, and removing weed hosts like pokeweed, which can be seen in the top right image, and burdock can help reduce pressure.
Next, we'll move on to cucumber beetles, another major pest to watch for throughout the season. Cucumber beetles are a concern for the entire growing season, but they're especially damaging to young seedlings. Both striped and spotted cucumber beetles feed on leaves, blossoms, and fruit. They're also important because they transmit bacterial wilt and squash mosaic virus, making early detection critical. On the image on the screen now, the left beetle is a spotted cucumber beetle, while the right beetle is the striped cucumber beetle. The striped cucumber beetle has black and yellow stripes that run the full length of the abdomen. This can be seen in the bottom left image. The spotted cucumber beetle is yellow-green with 12 distinct black spots on its abdomen. This can be seen on the bottom right image. Adults mostly lay their eggs at the base of the plant in the soil. A cluster of cucumber beetle eggs can be seen in the top right image, though this is an uncommon place to find them and their eggs are not typically found on the plant. The larvae that hatch are creamy white with dark heads and tails. A larva can be seen on the top left image emerging from a melon. The larvae feed on the roots, while adults are often found feeding and aggregating in flowers. Cucumber beetle feeding creates small shot holes in cotyledons and young leaves. As plants grow, larger leaves may become skeletonized. This can be seen in the top left image. Small seedlings can be killed outright, and later in the season, beetles may feed on fruit and handles. For example, the top right image shows cucumber beetles feeding on a pumpkin, while the bottom left image shows cucumber beetles feeding on a cucurbit flower. Even low beetle numbers are a concern because of their ability to spread bacterial wilt and squash mosaic virus. One way farmers can prevent cucumber beetles and other insects from feeding on their crops is by using floating row covers as a barrier to insects, which can be seen in the bottom right image. If used, keep in mind that floating row covers need to be removed when plants begin to flower to allow for pollination.
Management begins with crop rotation, moving cucurbits to distant fields each year to reduce local buildup of pests. Planting perimeter trap crops, such as dark green zucchini or blue Hubbard, can attract beetles to the edges of the field where they are easier to monitor and manage. Row covers provide protection for young plants until bloom, after which they must be removed to allow for pollination. Monitoring is essential. Use yellow sticky traps and scout fields twice weekly, checking 5 plants at 5 locations, with special attention to field edges. Treatment decisions are based on thresholds. Apply control if seedlings average more than 5 beetles per plant, or if older, bacterial susceptible plants have 1 or more beetles per plant. When possible, treat hot spots rather than the entire field. Conserving natural enemies, including tachinid flies and parasitoid wasps, is an important part of an integrated approach. Maintaining weed-free field edges can reduce beetle colonization, and post-harvest deep plowing helps destroy overwintering populations, reducing pressure for the following season. Next, we'll look at seedcorn maggot, a pest that mainly affects crops early in the season. Seedcorn maggot is primarily a concern from late May through June. It attacks seeds during sprouting and emergence, often before plants ever break the soil surface. Problems are most common in fields where manure or crop residue has been freshly incorporated. Both pictures on screen show seedcorn maggots that were found in plants and seeds. The top picture shows a maggot inside a soybean cotyledon, while the bottom picture shows a maggot inside a winter squash seed. Adult seedcorn maggots are small, gray-black flies about a quarter-inch long, as can be seen in the top image. The damaging stage is the larva, a yellowish-white maggot that feeds on germinating seeds, which can be seen in the bottom image. After feeding, larvae pupate in the soil, with seedcorn maggots preferring cool, moist soils rich in organic matter. This feeding can lead to significant stand losses early in the season. Seedcorn maggots hollow out seeds, causing them to rot or fail to germinate. Affected fields often have weak plants, uneven emergence, and poor overall stands. This can be seen in all 3 images on the screen. The top left image shows uneven emergence in a row from seedcorn maggot damage. The top right image shows a stunted plant from seedcorn maggot damage next to a healthy plant, and the bottom image shows damaged seedlings from seedcorn maggot. Because there are no rescue options, prevention is the most important management tool. Avoid applying manure, like with a manure spreader as pictured on screen now, or incorporating fresh residues right before planting, and instead work them into the soil well in advance. Delay planting until after the first generation pupates, around June 21st, can greatly reduce risk. Using transplants instead of direct seeding can also help avoid damage. Encouraging natural enemies like predators, parasitoids, and nematodes supports long-term control. If poor emergence is observed, scout by digging up ungerminated seeds and checking for hollowed or decayed tissue. Our next pest are spider mites, which is a group of arachnids that are mainly a problem during hot, dry summer conditions. In this presentation, we are going to be specifically talking about the two-spotted spider mite, a common mite pest of cucurbits. A two-spotted spider mite is shown on screen now walking across a leaf. They most often affect watermelon, cucumber, and melon plants. Unlike many insects, mite populations can be reduced by rainfall, which can help slow outbreaks. Two-spotted spider mites are extremely small, being about 1/64th of an inch long, and are usually greenish yellow with two dark spots on their backs. They are found primarily on the undersides of leaves, where they feed and reproduce. The presence of fine webbing on leaves is a strong indicator of an established infestation. For example, the top image on screen now shows a hemp plant covered with lots of webbing from a spider mite infestation, while the bottom picture shows a cucurbit plant with the same kind of webbing from an infestation. As mite numbers increase, plant damage becomes more noticeable. Early mite feeding causes yellow stippling and a crusty appearance on the undersides of leaves. Heavy infestation can lead to leaf bronzing, which you can see on the top and bottom images, leaf drop, and overall plant stress. If left unmanaged, mites can weaken plants and reduce yield. Managing mites relies heavily on prevention, monitoring, and protecting beneficial insects. Avoid dusty conditions near field edges and roads, as dust can favor mite outbreaks. Conserving natural enemies such as predatory mites, lacewings, and minute pirate bugs is critical for control. The picture on screen now shows a bottle of commercial predatory mites that can be bought and used as a biocontrol agent. Avoid broad-spectrum insecticides, which can actually increase mite populations by killing beneficial insects. While scouting for aphids, also note the presence of mites by checking leaf undersides, especially during hot, dry weather or near dusty field edges. Look for early signs like stippling, yellowing, or webbing, and spot treat or edge treat when necessary. Next, we'll look at the squash bug, a serious mid to late season pest in cucurbit crops. Squash bugs are most active from June through September. They're especially problematic on squash and pumpkin plants, where populations can build quickly. Squash bugs are also important because they can transmit cucurbit yellow vine disease. On screen now is an image of an immature squash bug. Knowing how to recognize squash bugs at all life stages is key to early control. Adult squash bugs are flat, grayish-brown insects about 5/8 of an inch long with striped edges along the abdomen. Adults also have wings, unlike nymphs, which can be seen on the two adult bugs on the bottom image. Squash bug eggs are reddish-orange in color and are laid in clusters on the undersides of leaves, as can be seen on the top right image. Nymphs start out pale green and gradually turn gray or brown as they mature, as can be seen in the top left image, where there is a few nymphs on the underside of a leaf. Squash bugs overwinter as adults in crop debris in protected areas, which is why sanitation is so important. As squash bugs feed, plant damage becomes more severe. Both adults and nymphs feed by sucking sap from leaves and stems. Heavy infestations can cause leaves to blacken and take on a burned appearance,
as can be seen in the top image. Feeding on fruit may lead to scarring, as can be seen on the bottom image of squash bugs feeding on a pumpkin, and squash bugs can also spread yellow vine disease. Crop rotation helps reduce squash bug pressure from year to year. Avoid heavy mulch or no-till systems, which provide ideal hiding spots for squash bugs. Boards placed on the soil surface can be used as traps. Adults will hide underneath and can be removed and destroyed. Trap crops like summer squash or pumpkins can help draw bugs away from main plantings. Conserving natural enemies such as the Trichopoda pinipes fly, as can be seen on screen now, and egg parasitoids supports biological control. When scouting, check leaf undersides for egg masses and watch for nymphs along stems and leaf bases. Treatment is recommended if more than one egg mass per plant is found at flowering. Deep tillage after harvest helps destroy overwintering adults. The last pest is the squash vine borer, a pest that can cause sudden and dramatic plant collapse. Squash vine borer is mainly a problem from mid-June through August. It targets the stems of squash and pumpkin plants. One of the first signs of infestation is sudden wilting, even when plants have adequate moisture. The top image shows an egg of squash vine borer, whereas the bottom image shows a larva of squash vine borer inside of a vine. To manage this pest, it's important to recognize all of its life stages. The adult squash vine borer is a clear winged moth with metallic green forewings. The adult can be seen in the top image. Eggs are a dull red and are laid directly on stems or leaf stalks. The larva is a thick white wrinkled caterpillar with a brown head, the stage responsible for damage. An image of a larva is shown on the bottom of the screen. After feeding, larvae pupate in the soil inside dark brown cocoons. Once larvae enter the plant, damage progresses quickly. Larvae bore into the base of the vine, leaving entry holes and sawdust-like frass around the stem. Internal tunneling disrupts water movement, causing vines to wilt and eventually die. All three images show vines of cucurbit plants with entry holes and sawdust-like frass from damage from internal tunneling by squash vine borer.
Because larvae are protected inside the stem, timing management correctly is critical. Rotate cucurbits with non-cucurbit crops, keeping in mind that adult borers can fly up to half a mile. Use row covers early in the season and remove them at bloom to allow for pollination. Since insecticides are ineffective once larvae are inside the stem, applications should be timed to adult activity. Monitor adult flight using pheromone traps or a degree day model. Around 900 to 1,000 degree days base 50, which often coincides with chicory flowering. This signals the start of a roughly 3-week egg-laying period. Making 2 to 3 insecticide applications, spaced about 5 to 7 days apart, can help control larvae before they tunnel into vines. After harvest, destroy crop residue and till the soil to expose overwintering cocoons. Consider planting cover crops after tillage to avoid leaving bare soil. To wrap up, effective pest management starts with regular scouting and accurate pest identification. Using cultural practices like crop rotation, good sanitation, and resistant varieties can help prevent many problems before they start. Conserving natural enemies helps keep pest populations in check and reduces the need for intervention. Pesticides should only be applied when economic thresholds are reached and always according to the label. Finally, following pollinator protection instructions ensures that management decisions are both effective and environmentally responsible. Thank you for completing our course on integrated pest management for insect pests of cucurbits, identification, scouting, and management.